If you're getting ready to file for divorce in Wisconsin, one of the first and often most overlooked decisions is where to file. And no, it's not just paperwork. Filing in the wrong county can delay your case, create jurisdictional problems, or even force you to start over. I'm Jeff Hughes, attorney and co-founder of Sterling Lawyers, and in this video, I'll explain exactly where divorce papers must be filed in Wisconsin, how to choose the correct county, and what mistakes people make at this very first step. Well, let's walk through it. Number one, divorce cases are filed in the circuit court, specifically the family court division. You don't file where you were married, and you don't file where your spouse moved last year. You file based on residency, and Wisconsin law sets two clear requirements. And before filing, at least one spouse must satisfy both of these requirements. The first is Wisconsin residency. That means living in our state for at least 6 months prior to the date of filing. And the other is the county of residence. You need to live in that county. One of the spouses needs to live in that county for at least 30 days prior to filing. And remember, only one of the spouses needs to meet these two requirements, not both of them. But if neither spouse qualifies, Wisconsin courts don't have jurisdiction, and the divorce must be filed somewhere else. And choosing the right county. Now, if you both live in the same exact county, well, you file there and there's no choice. But if you live in different Wisconsin counties, either spouse may file in their own county. The spouse who files first effectively chooses the venue. Now, this can matter because of court scheduling, local procedures, and backlogs that can vary from county to county. Now, if one spouse lives out of the state of Wisconsin, the resident in Wisconsin files in their county as long as those two residency rules are met. But if neither spouse lives in Wisconsin, you cannot file here, even if you were married in Wisconsin. Now, there are special rules when children are involved. If you have minor children, another law comes into play, and that's called the UCCJEA, and that governs child custody jurisdictions. And in simple terms, Wisconsin must be the child's home state. Now, what this usually means is that the child has lived in Wisconsin for at least 6 consecutive months prior to filing. A Wisconsin court might be able to grant the divorce, but not decide custody if the child legally belongs under another state's jurisdiction. And this can create major delays if the filing location isn't considered carefully. Where do you actually submit the paperwork? Well, divorce papers are filed with the clerk of circuit courts in the county that you choose to file in. And you have two options: file in person at the courthouse or use Wisconsin's electronic filing system. Attorneys, they must e-file. Self-represented parties can choose either one of those two methods. Now, at filing, you'll submit the required forms and pay the filing fee. And that's currently around $185, plus some small additional surcharges depending on the case. And if finances are tight, you can request a waiver with the court. Now, what about filing jointly versus filing alone? How you file also affects what happens next. If both spouses agree, you can file a joint petition which avoids formal service. If only one spouse files, the other spouse must be formally served within 90 days. Now, after service, the legal timeline begins, including Wisconsin's mandatory 120-day waiting period before a divorce can be finalized. Now, can you change counties later? Well, sometimes, but it is not that simple, as you can imagine, in a court system. Now, a judge may transfer a case if the wrong county was chosen, or moving the case better serves fairness and convenience of the parties. But changing venue adds time and expense, which is why choosing correctly at the start certainly matters. Now, here's a big tip. When the spouses live in different counties, the filing location can influence travel convenience for hearings, court scheduling speed, and overall case efficiency, depending on the county, of course. Now, that's why attorneys often advise deciding venue before filing, not after the problems appear. So in closing, filing for divorce isn't just about starting paperwork. It's about starting the case in the right place. So get the county right, and your case moves forward more smoothly. Get it wrong, and delays can begin before the divorce even begins. So before you file, there are 6 critical steps that can save you time, stress, and money. See you there.